Welcome to the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Belomo, where we discuss all things estate planning and elder law. And well, hey, anything else we want to talk about. On today's episode, we're probably going to talk a little bit about everything. So we're going to touch on elder law, we're going to touch on estate planning, and we're going to touch on a bunch of other stuff. I am joined by two friends of mine, Paul Hayes and Pam Kovalewski. How are you guys doing? Awesome. Doing really well, man. I'm looking forward to this one. This is going to be fun. Always great to have two guests on the podcast, and makes for an entertaining episode. So looking forward to that. By way of introduction, Paul is with eXp Realty and Pam is with Complete Senior Transitions. And we're going to talk all about that here in a minute. But as always, I want to do my legal disclaimer. After all, I am a lawyer, so we'll start there. Please do not take what you hear from this show or any other show for that matter to constitute legal advice. If you are looking for legal advice, please call an attorney licensed in the state that you reside in who practices law in the area that you are looking for advice in. And once you meet with them and they answer questions specific to your fact pattern, then you can constitute that as legal advice and take that information from there. This show and any other show should be used for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. At Belomo and Associates, we educate so that what happened to my family doesn't happen to yours. We offer free weekly workshops in the areas of estate planning in pre-planning context, Medicaid crisis planning, life care planning, special needs planning, and post-death administration. All of our workshops will educate you in those areas, provide costs and structures about the next meeting and how you can get more information. And whenever you are ready, we'd love to work with you. But otherwise, you'll get educated, and then when it happens, you'll know the answers, and you'll learn them in a non-stressful, non-emotional environment, which is a heck of a way to learn advice, not in a hospital like I did. So that is our mission here at Belomo and Associates. If you're looking for more information about any of our workshops, please check us out on the web at www.belomoassociates.com. That is B as in boy, ELLOMO associates.com. spelled out with an S, or 717-845-5390. www.belomoassociates.com or 717-845-5390. All right. Well, Paul and Pam, would you mind introducing yourselves and tell my listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Good morning. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you as well, Pam. Not that long now, huh?
I'm Pam. I'm with Complete Senior Transitions, and we're a unique company in the fact that we provide a full array of senior services. All of those include real estate, senior sales assistance. We do full renovation, maintenance, updates, whatever your home may need before you list it. And the real fun part, the downsizing. So we do all of the downsizing, all of the sorting and the purging, figuring out where your things should go, donation, auction. We carry an auctioneer. We have an amazing placement liaison. We do all of the packing, moving, unpacking, and settling in. We hang your pictures, we set your kitchens fast, make your beds, hook up the lamps, whatever we get done, we get it done. And we want you to be able to move from one spot to another and just be home and not have to stress over getting unpacked and settled. And then we go back and clean out your house and get it ready for the market. So one-stop shopping, we're here to help everybody with less stress.
Wow. Okay, I'll bite. How did you get into that, Pam? How like that's amazing. That's a service that is not something that most people offer. How did you even get into that?
It started many years ago. I moved 24 times in 26 years. Personally.
There you go. That's it.
Really, really good at sorting and purging. Drove me that I shouldn't pay to move. And I had two kids, so I had to be really detail oriented. And I had two dogs and a cat, so I had to be even more detail oriented. And we just, moved coast to coast on a regular basis with my ex's jobs, and I just got very good at it. And when I moved to Pennsylvania, I saw a need and started helping friends with their parents, and that just kind of turned into a company. I ran that company for 13 years and closed and went into real estate, which I also love, and knew Paul for years. And he's always wanted to have a full service company that was his baby. So we decided to combine efforts and put together a company that would just make it so much easier for seniors to take this journey because it's not an easy one.
I knew it. They always tell you in law school, you never ask a question you don't know the answer to. But just based upon your introduction and how specific it was about what you do, I thought there's a story here because I have been saying for years that this is a service that needs to be offered and that, you know, it's what people struggle with. It's the piece I hate when I move. I literally sometimes won't move because I don't want to have to deal with all that. I don't know where you've been my whole life, Pam, but I'm glad you're in it now so that the next move, I'll know exactly what to do. Very, very cool. All right. Well, Paul, how about you?
I'm Paul Hayes with DXP Realty. I've been in real estate for 23 years now.
Wow.
And about 10 years ago, I had a client, her name was Phyllis. She was approached me by a personal care home. And I went there, found this senior who her husband had died about 4 years prior to that.
Oh,
And she'd just been really confined to her little house out of the country. She had a son who was local, but was taking things from her without her knowing it. And she had grandkids that were taking from her. And the son that she really depended on for all the decision making was out in California, and he had no idea what was going on. So here was this lady who was taken advantage of by people who she cared about most. And I was brought in to try to. The only thing she had of value left was her little house, and that needed to
oh,
sustain her for the rest of her life. So I was brought into a situation that I felt completely unequipped for as a real estate agent. You just working the deals. I know you had
yeah.
the dealter on your show previous, so and he touched on it. There's so many different aspects to this real estate industry where you can carve out a niche for yourself, right?
Right.
He has his flavor, I have my flavor. And really, I just care about seniors so much. So I went back to school and learned all I could learn about servicing seniors specifically because they deserve the best of care and the best of service, unlike anything else. So one of the things that I saw was there's a gap in service where here's this 85-year-old lady who never made the decisions in her family. Her husband made all those decisions. She didn't have any support of her, and she had to figure out how to get out of her house. She had to figure out what to do with the remaining things she had, get it cleaned out, get it cleaned up, and then ready for sale. Nothing existed to make that
Oh, man.
that kind of put me on the path trying to figure this out. How to just like those.
So I'll ask a two-part question. The first part is what got you into real estate?
Yeah, perfect. Great question. Really, my wife. So,
Ah,
long story short, I went down to Virginia Tech on a track scholarship. Back in '02, we graduated. Class of, I think there were 10,000 people in our class, and my wife was in the top couple, top 10 or 15 people in our class. Way smarter than me. I'm married to
wow. Yeah, nice. Me too, for the record.
her.
Yeah.
Uh, So she had a great job lined up our junior year and graduated, uh, got married right after school, and then she started with GE at the time. And her job was going to dictate where in the country we moved. And I could never interview for any place, any jobs out of college because her job was going to dictate everything. So, long story short, about 2 months into our marriage, she found out we were located in Devon, Pennsylvania,
Hmm.
main line down towards Philly.
Yeah.
She said, Paul, go find us an apartment. So I walked into a real estate office and I said, two young guys were sitting in there and they asked me, what do you do? I said, I don't do anything. I've got to find a place to live. I've got to, figure out what I'm going to do. I said, you got to get into real estate. It's the best thing ever. And this is like the height of the market in 2002 and similar to what it's been like, here. But uh, yeah, that's how it happened. I was a business major,
Wow.
knew I wanted to get into business, and just the opportunity opened up. And 23 years later, I've been fortunate enough to have a great sales business, opened up a new bridge in the area, exited from that, building out the team, focusing on C. That's in a nutshell.
Wow. And how did you guys meet originally? I don't know if I know that story.
Originally, I believe it was
This
it
is SOS, I think.
SOS?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, through property management too. But there's
A lot of connections.
this world with
supposed to-
seniors, there's a lot of crossover, right?
Okay.
Idea.
Yes.
We were supposed to meet years
Yes.
ago, but we just didn't know that this would happen years later.
Oh wow, yeah. Now, SOS for the listeners, I assume it's the same one as we have locally, Senior Outreach Services. It's a group that primarily is all people who deal with seniors in their professions, and we all get together on a regular basis, uh, have speakers, touch base, network, kind of figure out how we can help each other, but also the seniors that we serve. Is that a fair?
It's a great group filled with everything from medical to ancillary services for seniors.
Yeah, it's incredible. I agree with you, and that's so cool that you guys met there. I have some great connections that I met as well over the years at Sing or SOS or some of the other ones as well, and they're great. That's awesome. And then what made you guys team up? Like, what was the hey, we can do this together sort of thing?
What I saw was that there were gaps in my skill set.
Ah,
With so many talented.
yeah,
So
right.
I knew that she had extensive background in downsizing and just connecting with seniors in ways that really help them in those tangible ways. I'm an expert at getting properties sold with little hassle and sitting at the bedside manner. I think that's for me. Like my grandmother is one of the most important people in my life. She's 98 years old. We had lunch yesterday. Well, she made me lunch because if I'm within a 5-mile radius of her house when I'm driving through for work, she can tell that I'm close by, and she always has food ready.
Wow.
I love my grandmother. I love seniors. I love taking the time to really get to know people. So at Cam, she gets things done. So so oftentimes we're in a timeline that has to be met. So this just was a perfect match in skill set.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Project management side, the planning, all the details. And, that's the thing about seniors trying to handle a lot of this on their own. There are a lot of details. There are a lot of moving parts. Most of them don't know what those parts are. And not only do we do the downsizing part, but the part I love the most is educating seniors, teaching them what they don't know so that they're better prepared to make better decisions moving forward. And there's a lot of shysters out there. So I want them to be well educated in a lot of areas if I can, so that they're just better prepared to take their journey, whatever that may be, aging in place, downsizing. Um, I want to educate so that they're prepared ahead of time versus being behind the 8 ball and doing everything in an emergency. So for me, that's the most important part. Listening to them, understanding their lifestyle, their needs, where they've been, what they've done. Where are they right now? Do they have families involved? Do they not have families? Are they alone? Can I help and be their friend and try and just help wherever I can? Can I send them referrals for things? Because one of the first things I usually ask is, have you talked to an elder law attorney?
Right. Right.
First question, because I think that's such an important step to kind of make a plan and get their ducks in a row. So, and to protect themselves and whatever they have, whether that's big or small. And it kind of helps guide them on their next journey. Where can I afford to go? How do I protect my assets? How do I get there? And so we have this amazing vetted base of referral professionals like you that we go to when we need something that we don't do. And there's a lot that we don't do, but there's a lot that we can provide.
And when you mentioned earlier about education, that sings to my heart as well. We're very similar in that. How are you educating? How are you getting the word out to seniors? And what platforms are you educating mostly?
Yeah, so I think the big thing for us is empowerment. Right?
Yeah.
Seniors who are empowered to make better decisions.
Mm-hmm. Way down.
So we love to empower and educate people. Seminars,
Yeah.
more consultations, families that have calls with the families that are out in the area, and trying to help their family member, their parents, their loved one, make those good decisions. Panels, events. It's just there's the promotional side. Like, what do we need to do to spread our message, and then we go down to the one-on-one. Service somebody's.
And
Yeah.
our own radio show called Smart.
Yes. I've heard of that.
20. So anybody can jump on and listen to that. It's filled with great information. They archive all our shows, so you can get a lot of great information on there. We just try and put as much out in the community as we possibly can, and we work with communities as well, doing seminars and things to kind of educate local seniors in very strategic areas. Just getting the information out.
That's amazing. What was the radio show again?
It's called Smart Seniors. It's on WHYF AM 720, Holy Family Radio. And we started in June, I believe, and are already their most downloaded podcast of all their shows. So that tells us people are listening, seniors are learning, their families are getting information, and we love that. That's where we want to be. We want to educate.
Amen. And I know you recently had an incredible guest as well on the radio show. So yeah, I don't truly believe that crap. That's for sure. But it is a wonderful radio show. That was a lot of fun for me, and it was definitely enjoyable. Slightly different than my podcast in terms of how I set it up, but that was a cool experience for me. I was telling my wife about it. It was a lot of fun. So thank you for having me. I enjoyed every minute of it. So yeah, and I'll tell you, as we're talking, it's fascinating because having done this for over 20 years, there's a couple areas where I've always said there was needs, right? I always felt that there was a need for people to act as professional powers of attorney and for people to assist with the moves and the downsizing and the packing and the setting up of beds and even to the extent that people have family members local, they have lives, they're busy, don't have skill sets most of the time. Even if they do have the time, they don't have the skill set, and it ends up becoming more stressful. You put two family members together in a stressful situation, and you expect something that's not going to be stressful. Like, how does that work? What's that?
And the fight.
100%. And
you're trying to help mom and dad with their stuff, and mom and dad like their stuff. So
Mhm.
it is an emotional connection. And I honestly, I would rather you just go spend some really fun quality time with your parents and let us do the hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have a question that is always a wonderful question in the world. And I know that you had mentioned, Pam, that you have some auction services on your end as well. Do you auction off the personal property? Is that kind of one of the thoughts in some of the cases, or no, we're not?
Not generally.
Okay.
We have an independent auctioneer. He will walk through the property and tell us, is this, what has value? And we're not going to waste time on stuff that doesn't have value. And
Right.
auctions overall as a whole have been down, but Connor's great. He's very knowledgeable, and sometimes he'll make just a flat offer so we can get it out, and whatever it is, we review it with the client and we just take that off their bill. It helps. Sometimes there's multiple auctioneers involved because we're guided to, well, we need to send it to this auctioneer or that auctioneer because they do this and this one does that. And auctioneers are very specific now on what they focus on in many cases. So, say we have a house full of primitives, that needs to go one place, but maybe there's a bunch of collectibles that are really not in that historical period of primitives and Civil War stuff. So, a different auctioneer may sell that. We want to do what's best for our client and get the biggest bang for the buck for them. We don't get involved in that. Once the auctioneer is chosen, that is directly handled with the client or their family. That money is either used to offset their bill or it goes directly to them in a check. We don't take a part of that. It's none of our business. It's their stuff. I've always not understood why companies that do clean outs think they should get a part of that. It's not their stuff. They didn't work their whole life for it. And we want that to benefit our clients either in their bill or in income as it sells.
I can only imagine how many stories you have being in the industry, just seeing the seniors and in some cases a good part of their lives, right? For some people it's a wonderful part, but for some it's a tough part because they don't necessarily want to move from the home or they don't want to move to a different home even if they're moving. Um, but I'm sure you have got some great stories about great outcomes, but also maybe some stressful outcomes for some people. But in the end, I'm sure it was just wonderful for them and their families.
Been blessed to meet some amazing seniors, ambassadors, poets, writers, people embedded in the theater in New York City, the last double flying ace in Pennsylvania. I mean, we've just really been blessed to meet some incredible seniors. A female colonel in the Marines. She started during World War II on base helping out, ended up joining the Marines, and at the end of her career was the International Director of Logistics, Commander of Logistics. She was amazing.
Paul, one of the things that I've always seen with a lot of the houses that we get involved with, whether it be on the estate side or the Medicaid side, if somebody ends up needing long-term care, is that mom and dad haven't renovated or touched the home in 40 years. Always an interesting issue to deal with. How do you handle that with families? Because it's so sensitive.
It's first of all, every situation is different.
Yeah.
We can't take a blanket approach to every property and every situation. So what we do is we talk with the family, we talk with all the stakeholders in the conversation and figure out, all right, what is best for the client, right? Sometimes the house does need a lot of work. Um, if we're in a position where if we need to bring in a cash offer to liquidate something because there's a timeline, all right, we have that resource available to us. If it's something that if we need to invest some money into it where they don't have the funds, the liquid funds, we'll take care of that. And then out of the proceeds of the settlement, we'll get reimbursed for that. We want to keep things moving quickly. And but we also believe that if you're going to spend $1, got to get a multiple back on that because it makes no sense to go through all this work, create the risk involved just to have a wash. So with every situation, we have to look at it from a financial perspective and what's in the benefit of the client.
Including the cost that they're downsizing. Well,
Right. And I'm sure with your experience, you probably you kind of know, you can see it coming. Yeah, this one we're probably going to sell it for this, and this is the risk. When and it probably becomes patterns on some level as far as what do you think is going to sell. Now the market always changes, I guess, huh?
Well, and we're entering into a new part of the cycle, right? It is
Okay.
the real estate cycle. For the last 4 or 5 years, well, maybe 6 years, they list the house, multiple offers. They just count on no inspections and will count on a quick sale. Well, now that things are changing. It's still a great seller's market. Don't get me wrong, but we're closer to a changing market than we are to a rock solid seller's market. It's same thing. So we just have to, every day is a new day, and we have to work with the facts in hand and educate our clients on what the market's doing with now and what the house is actually competing against. But I think part of having a lot of experience and a big network of how to get things done quickly, um, we've got people covered in every way that they need.
That's awesome. Can you tell both of us? Can you tell us how the listeners would find you if they were looking for you at EXP Realty or Complete Senior Transitions? Maybe give a phone number and a website. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think for both of us, I mean, we can both be found. I mean, we're partners in the business of complete senior transitions. So the
Sweet.
best way is, complete senior transitions.com. And, you can find all of our information on that, our phone number, email addresses, background, everything.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. The phone is 717-502-2507. They can reach us there. They can log in. Also on our website is a form they can fill out. So they can just leave some basic information, name, address, phone number, how they best want to be contacted, whether that's via email or whether it's a phone call. And we can start there. A lot of times people just call us directly at the phone number, and we just go ahead and schedule a time to get over there, do a quick walkthrough, get a free consult going, spend some time educating them on the process. And that's always our most important step. Whether they hire us or not, being able to sit down with them, see um, what they're trying to accomplish, and try and give them as much quality information and knowledge about the process as we can. A, it helps them make fewer mistakes. And B, it takes a little bit of the stress off if they kind of know what the process is and how to tackle it.
You know, I'll kind of end with this as far as a little bit of advice that I would give is we have a workshop that we give in a crisis planning context, and there's a picture in it. And I got to give a shout out to Michelle Poole, who actually found this picture years ago, and I still use it. I mean, my gosh, it's probably been maybe 12, 13 years, but it's a picture of a guy literally ripping his hair out, like stressed, like. And then there's a picture of another, I think it's the same guy in a hammock drinking a margarita with a sombrero on. And I always tell people that's the difference between knowing ahead of time and learning it in the crisis. Now is the time to learn. Learn it when you're not stressed, when you don't have mom going into a hospital or a nursing home. This is the time to get the information. And I think that you'll thank me later if it ever happens. And if it doesn't, okay, so you got educated for an hour or two with my friends at Complete Senior Transitions, and you made a friend, and you got lucky that you didn't end up needing anything. But if you do, I promise you're going to thank me for having that when it's not stressful. So I can't thank you guys enough. Yeah, it's in my workshop.
Downsizing and the after
I
downsizing.
love it. Yeah, absolutely. And you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I know we could do a complete podcast on how you set it up and what you do and what the logic goes into how you do it. I'm not sure that everybody cares, but I do know that there are those people out there that are high fact finders who do want that understanding. I do not. I want to know that the sausage tastes good, and I'm good. I don't want to know what's in it. I don't want to know how it's made. I don't want to know what happened for it to get there. I just want to know it tastes good. So different people want different things. So I think that would be a really cool one as well, where you kind of give some thoughts on it. I always tell people, I can tell you everything about trust, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to go and draft it. And it's the same concept here of, I have no interest in doing all that. I mean, you talk about moving and cleaning up and downsizing and purging and making beds and turning on lights, and where's the nearest window?
To do a little bit of a deep dive on the process with our clients.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Understand that it's not as horrible. You can help. We can give you homework. We can do the big stuff, the heavy lifting. But we like working with our clients. We think it's really fun.
Yeah, but you're also willing to just take it all over, right? For those who want that as well. I'm in. All right. Well, I want to thank Paul and Pam for being with us today. Paul is with eXp Realty, as well as Paul and Pam are with Complete Senior Transitions. I apologize for that. Thank you both for being here today. It was an incredible time for me. I hope my listeners enjoyed it. I want to remind my listeners that you can find Paul and Pam at there I go, Paul. Complete Senior Transitions. And all their information is there as well. And at Belomo and Associates, you can find us at www.belomoassociates.com. B as in boy, ELLOMO, associates spelled out with an S.com, 717-845-5390. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you to my listeners for enjoying the podcast, and appreciate it. So looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show. Until then, we'll see you real soon.